in here? Aha, Mr. Lou Diamond Phillips. There you are. Sorry, I didn't get inside. And our leading lady is Eddie in here. Did she make it inside? Is she outside? Eddie is there. Sorry, Edie, I'm sorry about that. And Theta Catalan is our producer. And okay, we have a working mic. So I gather from everyone's experience on this project, from what I've heard, and particularly reading social media, there have been some very distinct opinions about the movie. And I think that if it's okay with everyone, I'd like to start with Mr. Duke on taking on such a brave choice. And obviously, again, it's a very topical issue right now, but I'm going to start with you. Why did you choose to step on board and make Created Equal?
Well, I first want to thank Theta and all the people that brought me into this formula. And it's something, in terms of women's rights, I just really wanted to address. And it's not only the Catholic Church. I'm a Baptist. Was a Baptist. And, it's an issue throughout many churches in terms of women being equal to men. And I just think in God's eyes, we are created equal. And I wanted to address that.
And actually, if we can continue, Lou, if you don't mind also answering the same question, and Edie, like what was it about this film? What was it about your character that drew you to it? Because you've played many different roles, but this is something that was quite contentious.
Ladies first.
All right. I grew up Catholic. I feel like in Mexico the population is mostly Catholic. And I was actually really taken aback when I realized that I hadn't questioned that myself. Why aren't women allowed to be priests in in my religion? I'm not necessarily very religious. I'm more spiritual, but you grow up Catholic. And I was kind of disappointed in myself for not really questioning that. And the character of Ali was just really inspiring for me as a woman to be able to portray someone that has a belief of what she was born to do, and she really goes for it. And also, I feel like Bill said, this is a topic of the church specifically, but I feel like in a broad way, it's for everything, like all the different types of jobs that we have out there, whether it's also, right now we're seeing all the women wearing black at the Golden Globes for Time's Up. And it's not just in the industry, all the inequality. And so I just really, it was an honor to be able to be a part of this project.
I thought that the script and the story, and I also read the novel by Roger Brown, presented a very intriguing and compelling story and proposition. Why not? And I grew up partially Catholic, partially Southern Baptist, walked the Red Road for many years, went to a lot of Seder's in college. So I've been a fan of faith for a long time. But like Eddie, I don't believe I would call myself religious, but most certainly in the spiritual camp. And for me, and especially in this role, I didn't think this guy should just be the bad guy. I think in a lot of other formulaic type films, Monsignor Rizzulli would be the enemy, guy in all black, and the fact that that Bill and Theta and the screenplay that they wrote presented him as a real human being with a point of view and a faith and a he's coming from a place of intelligentsia, of academia, but also a very deep-rooted faith. This isn't a guy who, and we're seeing it in the media a lot these days, people who are carpetbaggers. They're willing to espouse, points of view that they don't really believe, that are not within their hearts and their souls. And at the end of the day, I felt that Monsignor Rizzulli had integrity, he had dignity, and could understand where she was coming from, but he had a position to defend, and defend it he did with all of his heart and all of his soul. So for me, it was that was the challenge, was to play a character that you could relate to. Obviously, you're pulling for this one in the film, but also that the film itself does not become propaganda, that it did not try to ram a point of view down your throat without presenting the other side, and and creating good guys and bad guys. At the end of the day, the movie and the basic concept and idea are hopefully there to make you think and to make you reflect. It may not change your mind, but it will at least allow you to think about it. And I think in my own spiritual awakening, I came to terms with the idea that blind faith is not faith at all. That if your faith is not tested, that if you do not question it, if you do not use the mind that God gave you, then you cannot be devout in any way. So, anyway.
Can I see the mic for a second? Yeah. Are the other actors here? Could you come down,
Yeah, please.
The other actors that are here?
Actually, is Lauren?
Lawrence here, yeah.
Come on down.
There are
Spence.
two Laurens. Oh, except two Laurens and Spence. Oh, and Spence. Yes, yeah.
Lauren and Lauren Spence.
Lauren.
Spence, you got a seat for you right here, Spence.
Do you want me to answer the question?
I'll stand.
Bill, please.
No. Okay. I'll hang on back here.
Oh, hi.
Okay, so now the whole family's here. Well, the reason why I got on board, Roger Brown, like Lou mentioned, he wrote the book and he's also the executive producer of the movie. And when he reached out to me and sent me the script and the book and I read it, I just thought it was timely because at the time there was like 3 women running for president. And I was like, if one of them can break through the glass ceiling, then why can't a woman break through the stained glass ceiling? And so we've noticed throughout the past, I guess, year and a half, with all the different movements, with the woman running for president, and then it was the Me Too movement, and then the Women's March, and now it's the Time's Up movement. To me, this is just a sign of where we are. And when I was looking at like some of the campaigns that were going on, and it seemed like they was trying to take women back decades, I was like, why are we there? And now, like, time's up. We need to start having answers to why women can't be leaders in certain positions, whether it's the church, because like Bill said, I'm not Catholic. I grew up Southern Baptist, but I never seen a woman in a pulpit. And why is that? Basically a woman, all she want to do is spread the word of God. So why is that a problem? And so I just wanted to be a part of a movement that can help bring equality, not only for women, but as Eddie said, for all different causes, not just women, race. We see all the things that's going on in the news now that has to do with people of color or minorities. And I just want to be a part of something that we can see something different happen. Whether it happens today, tomorrow, a year from now, 10 years from now, because it took a while for us to get the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That didn't happen overnight, and it was a fight. They kept pushing forward, and then here we are today where women can actually vote. So, who knows what this movie is going to do. And so it's all about starting the conversation.
Absolutely. Exactly. I one of the characters, Spence, you have a bit more of an aggressive character.
I'm actually so incredibly laid back.
Yes.
Would you share with us how did you come to the choice of stepping into this role?
It was actually not hard. I know, I think I said it before. I mean, I grew up in a really small town in Alabama, very religious. My brother-in-law was a Southern Baptist preacher.
Wow.
I grew up Assembly of God. So you would think I'd be a really religious guy, but I'm not. but I know those, like the hellfire and brimstone guys. I grew up with those preachers. One, I'm totally blanking on this guy's name, but every Sunday he would pull the paper and he's just, I mean, he's so passionate about everything and everyone, you know, right or wrong, whatever, how you want to view their you know, their morals, their values, they were just so incredibly passionate about them, even, you know, the extreme conservatives that I grew up with. But like I said, I'm just, everyone's like, everyone, yeah, do what you want to do, it's cool, great, everyone come along, so, yeah.
As it has stirred so many conversations over the past few days, and we were actually just before the movie was ending, we were discussing the film, and we realized that there are so many opinions from outside sources, and
Yeah.
Sorry,
I don't
I
need
was
it
like,
because I project. Does anybody have any questions in here? I'm gonna race around because I think there'll be some far more intriguing ones than I can come up with. This is the person that I can have.
Well, first of all, I want to say to all of you, bravo. It's
Thank you.
big, bold, and it's beautiful. You're, like you said, starting a conversation that is important. I'm a practicing Catholic, my husband is. But you know, there are so many points of view. There's a woman mystic now who's going around the world, and I've traveled with her to the Holy Land, calling for Christian unity, ecumenism, and acceptance of all faiths. And there's a movement afoot. And what you're presenting is so much a part of a conversation that is so needed. So I just really wanted to say congratulations to all of you on just an amazing job, a very entertaining film. Now I want to know more about the bad guy.
Which one of us are you pointing at?
The church.
Oh, well, okay, Lou. But the building of the suspense of the bad guy was really remarkable. The way that it was, brought in to the plot. But anyway, all of you did a fantastic job, and I guess what I want to ask you is how we get it in all the major theaters instead of just on demand. This is really wonderful.
Lisa? Is she in here?
Well,
No.
we need investors, sponsors.
Money.
But it will be on VOD on the 16th.
January 16th
Yeah,
is available on VOD on essentially every major platform.
Every major platform. So if you would spread the word, if you would write about it on your social media, tell everybody they have to see this. We're going to do the same thing we did here in New York on Thursday, and we're getting requests from schools all over the place, which is great. So we will continue to be in theaters upon request, but we'll be out on VOD on the 16th and on DVD. So we'll be on Amazon and iTunes and all the cable VOD platforms and everywhere.
We'll be passing the plate here in just a moment.
Now it's church.
I was gonna say it's incredible, Mr. Duke. Everyone up there, it was good. You're a very good bad guy. Very well done. My question is simply, has there been a court case of this precedent where something this has happened, where someone's actually gone as far as go to whether, well, not Supreme Court, I probably would know that, but has there been something of that nature?